Hey guys, BJ Kissel with SB Nation and Arrowhead Pride talking about the Kansas City Chiefs' big news of the week, and that is trading for Alex Smith, the quarterback from the San Francisco 49ers. Obviously, nothing can become official until the new league year starts on March 12th, but all indications now are that the Chiefs are giving up the number 34 pick, the top of the second round, and in this upcoming draft, and a conditional pick in 2014. Now, I think the news caught a lot of Chiefs fans off guard because that's a very valuable pick at number 34. And I think it's a lot more than Chiefs fans were hoping and expecting to give up to get Alex Smith. I think the market in years past when trading for quarterbacks kind of set that. I think it might say a little bit about the other interest that was out there. But obviously, compensation aside, I think that more people are upset with the compensation than they are with the player. But I've got 5 points on how this trade affects the rest of the Kansas City Chiefs offseason through the draft and then even going into next season. The first one, obviously, being the Chiefs have a new starting quarterback next season. I think the Chiefs went out there and got the best available veteran free agent or veteran quarterback that was available. I think obviously the compensation was very, very steep, but I think the Chiefs have a better chance of winning next season with Alex Smith than they would have with any other move they could have made. Obviously, go back, compensation's very high, completely understand. But when it's all said and done, when you sit down to watch a football game next fall, I think the Chiefs have a better chance of winning now than they did a week ago or with any other move they could have made this offseason with veteran quarterbacks available. The Chiefs needed two new quarterbacks. Matt Cassel and Brady Quinn were with the Chiefs last season. Neither one of those guys are going to be back. I think it was pretty obvious the Chiefs were going to bring in somebody in some way or another, whether it was just signing a free agent that was available or trading for somebody that has starting experience, and then also draft a guy in the upcoming draft. The number 2 point is the pressure on Alex Smith. There was a very good debate the other day on whether there's more pressure on Alex Smith coming into next season than there was with Matt Cassel, when he was traded from the New England Patriots. At that time, general manager Scott Pioli had come from New England, brought Matt Cassel with him, and gave him that huge contract, over $60 million. And I think that, for money reasons, I think there was more pressure on Cassel coming in. But that said, there's a lot of pressure on Alex Smith because the Chiefs made this move. John Dorsey and Andy Reid made this move for Alex Smith because they feel he gives them the best chance to win next season. So the Chiefs need a win next season. And right or wrong, if the Chiefs don't end up with Geno Smith, which they could still, I guess, but it's not very likely, wherever Geno Smith ends up, Chiefs fans are going to be watching Geno Smith to see how he does. And they're going to compare that to how Alex Smith is doing in Kansas City. Or, not just Geno Smith, but any of the top young quarterbacks available, because there was the thought that the Chiefs could then take a quarterback with the number 34 overall pick and get a guy like Ryan Nassib or Matt Barkley, or if Tyler Wilson falls down there. And now they gave up that valuable pick in order to get Alex Smith. So Chiefs fans are going to be looking around the league to see how these young guys are doing and compare that to how Alex Smith is doing in Kansas City. And, obviously, number 3, the draft implications. Is Geno Smith out as the number 1 overall pick? I would all but say that that's true. Obviously, there's still, other things that can happen with free agency that would see, I guess maybe the Chiefs could take him, but not very likely at all. Luke Joeckel, he becomes, the guy that everybody's going to be talking about because of the Chiefs' left tackle situation that Brandon Albert hasn't re-signed yet. Obviously, that could happen any day. The franchise tag deadline comes up on March 4th. So the Chiefs have until then to decide between Brandon Albert and Dwayne Bowe, but obviously there's huge draft implications on what the Chiefs did in trading for Alex Smith. And where do you take that second quarterback? We know the Chiefs are bringing in 2 new quarterbacks, one who's going to be a veteran, and now you don't have that number 34 pick, so you use a third round pick on a quarterback. So you used 2 top 95 picks on quarterbacks, and how much are you willing to trade down now? I think the Chiefs and John Dorsey have done just about everything next to putting a sign on their forehead or putting a banner on Arrowhead Stadium saying, we want to trade down. And it could be possible. Maybe they take less compensation than was asked for in years past for that pick, and it makes it more likely they could trade down. So obviously a lot can still happen. We have free agency starting here in a couple of weeks. That could change a lot of things. And that's the number 4 thing, is how this changes free agency. We said all along that the biggest key to this offseason for the Chiefs was what happened with Brandon Albert. It all starts from there. And a lot of people are going to keep mocking Luke Joeckel to the Chiefs because we currently don't have a starting left tackle. We've got Donald Stevenson there, the rookie from last year that subbed in when Brandon Albert missed a few games. But do you count on him this offseason because of those few games. So obviously a lot still in play. I think that, if the Chiefs did go out and sign Brandon Albert, I think it would do a lot for the move to get Alex Smith, in that then you couldn't necessarily say they just straight swapped Kissel and Albert for Luke Jokel and Alex Smith, because you'd still have Brandon Albert using that #1 overall pick to either trade down or pick up another good player that can help you on another aspect of your team. And then obviously in free agency, Dwayne Bowe. You just use the number 34 overall pick, a huge investment, a huge value pick for yourself to bring in Alex Smith. And you want Alex Smith to be successful. You want him to win next season, and you do that by surrounding him with weapons. And I think that if you trade the number 34 overall pick and you don't bring back Dwayne Bowe, maybe you don't go after a guy like Greg Jennings, if you don't make a big move at wide receiver, you didn't put Alex Smith in a great position to be successful. So obviously, what happens at wide receiver with Dwayne Bowe or any of the other big name wide receivers available is going to be a huge deal for the Chiefs. And, Dwayne Bowe, if he comes back, would be playing with the best quarterback he's played with in his career. And that's going to sound sad to a lot of people, but, Dwayne Bowe right now is in the discussion, at least, as the best Chiefs wide receiver of all time. And if he signs a 4 or 5 year extension, whatever it could end up being, I think that would solidify his case as being one of the best wide receivers, of all time for the Kansas City Chiefs. And obviously, number 5 point is the Chiefs are making bold moves. Clark Hunt, as soon as this offseason started, he went out, cleared house, went out and got Andy Reid. The Chiefs were the first team to sign to bring in or sign a coach this offseason. And then obviously now the first big trade we hear of the offseason is the Kansas City Chiefs. Whether you agree with the moves or not, you're out there seeing the Chiefs making moves before other teams are, and it's kind of nice to see. Obviously, we won't know the ramifications of all of this or how successful this move was made until next season. We're going to see Alex Smith go out there and play. You're going to see, Geno Smith, wherever he ends up, if it's not in Kansas City, you're going to see him go out there and play somewhere. And that's when we're really going to know how well this move turned out. Obviously, a lot of things can still happen in free agency with Brandon Albert, Dwayne Bowe, trading down possibly in the draft. So there's a lot of things the Chiefs could still do. Obviously, they paid a very steep price for Alex Smith, but once the whole picture is done, we'll see how the team, address both quarterback positions, left tackle, wide receiver, and all of it. So obviously, a lot can still happen with the Kansas City Chiefs. It's going to be an exciting rest of the offseason. For Arrowhead Pride and SB Nation, I'm BJ Kissel.